Hey, it's the interview you have not been waiting for. It's the interview absolutely no one was demanding and no one asked for. To get the ramblings and the ravings of a crack addict and what he thought about the former Biden presidential administration and the critics that came after him, like George Clooney.
Him, and everybody around him. I don't have to be nice. Number one, I agree with Quentin Tarantino. George Clooney is not a actor. He is a I don't know what he is. He's a brand, and he's great friends with Barack Obama. You, what do you have to do with anything? Why do I have to listen to you? What right do you have to step on a man who's given 52 years of his life to the service of this country and decide that you, George Clooney, are going to take out basically a full-page ad in the New York Times to undermine the president?
Really just can't find anything to do after the Burisma grift ended and nobody wanted to buy your paintings, huh?
Let's get ready to rumble! You can't handle the truth.
Hey, I'm Pastor Marty, and this is the Afternoon Drive. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure that you're subscribed to the channel. Once you are, please smack the bell, click the word all. That's the way that you will get notification of my rants, my ravings, but my flawless reasonings. Hey, please like and share this video. It's the only way that we get the word out that we're here. And, we have been stuck at our subscription level, literally it seems like forever. And anything that you could do to help us promote and get the word out that we're here, I would appreciate that. I don't sell you merch. I don't ask you to go over to Patreon or anywhere else and buy me a cup of coffee. I just ask you to spread the word that we're here. Thank you so very much and welcome to the Afternoon Drive. So Hunter Biden went on a podcast to basically unload and vent. Now we know that he didn't have anything nice to say about President Trump, who we refer to as a fascist dictator. Of course, he's totally against the deportation of the millions of illegal aliens who are here, 10 million or more, which came in 4 short years under his daddy's administration. And he would have you believe that they was all here to live the American dream, to just achieve, and without them, you won't get your hotel room cleaned, you won't get your meals cooked, you won't get your lawn mowed. Totally not even wanting to entertain the concept that any of the illegal aliens that are here are actually criminals, rapists, drug dealers, sent in by the cartel, that some of these South American countries literally did decide, hey, we got a migration going past us on their way to America. Let's go ahead and empty out our jails, our prisons, and our mental hospitals. Why should we bear this financial burden? Let them go to America. Doesn't he want to acknowledge that that was a possibility? Doesn't even acknowledge the fact that the polls, 80-20, support the concept of closing the border and deporting the illegal aliens, especially those who have engaged in criminal behavior since coming here. Doesn't even want to address that. But of course, I get it. Now, I will say this, and this is going to shock you. I actually like the fact he's defending his dad. We live in a day and a time when people are so narcissistic and self-absorbed that, it'd be very easy for Hunter to come out right now and say, my dad had some missteps. My dad had some policies that didn't quite work, and he didn't quite get. He meant well with the open border. He really did want to give, people from third world countries an opportunity to come to the place that literally you can just dream and it could happen. His whole story is that way of, crawling out of the coal mines of Scranton, Pennsylvania. No family member of the Bidens ever worked in a coal mine, despite the fact that Joe Biden told that story for the last 70 years. And he just wanted to give that dream to the less fortunate people of the world. But my dad, in his just innocent naivete, didn't understand that there would be a lot of criminal element coming in with them. He could have done that, but he didn't. He just went hardcore. Everything my dad did was right, and he went on this profanity-laced tirade. Now, let me say this. The Democrats, for the past few months, thinking that to connect with the American voter, they got to be like Trump, so they fake, I cuss now, Adam Schiffer brains the other night on Stephen Colbert, looking into the camera and saying, Donald Trump, piss off. Yeah, like you would ever have the guts to say that to his face. See, whatever Donald Trump says on the stage, he'll say to your face. Whatever Donald Trump, the way he acts with people, you're nice to him, he's nice to you. If you get confrontation with him, he's going to get confrontational right back. And that's Donald Trump. Do I think Adam Schiff would actually sit this close to Donald Trump and tell him to piss off? No way. And so, you watch Jasmine Crotchet, trying to pretend that she's this ghetto skank who crawled out of the projects, and now she gonna represent y'all in Congress, even though the fact she comes like AOC from a very upper middle class background, and up until a year ago, talk like a normal person. See, the Democrats are just so disingenuous on this. And yet, for the first time, here's a guy, what you see with Hunter, like it or not, it's authentic. It's who he is. Why, if he were president, he'll send troops into El Salvador demanding you give back the illegals that were deported. I mean, this is every socialist Democrat's wet dream come to reality. Now, of course, there is a part of his tirade that we on the conservative side liked, when he went after the actual Democratic elite.
And you know what George Clooney did? Because he sat down, I guess, because he was like given a blessing by the Obama team or the Obama people and whoever else, and David Axelrod and whoever the else, is to go, okay, yeah, you know what? We are going to insert our judgment over yours. Me and James Carville, who hasn't run a race in 40 years, and David Axelrod, who had one success in his political life, and that was Barack Obama. And that was because of Barack Obama, not because of David Axelrod. And David Plouffe, and all of these guys, and the Pod Save America guys, who were junior speechwriters in, on Barack Obama's Senate staff, who have been dining out on the relationship with him for years, making millions of dollars.
Oh, I would love to know James Carville's response to he hasn't won anything in 40 years. Oh, is he wrong about anything he said there? No, not really. Not really. But then there's this part of him in his defense of his dad. He also, though, gets delusional.
I was asking people to go along with this. The most successful administration in my lifetime. And I'm including the Obama administration, I'm including the Reagan administration, I'm including every administration in my lifetime. We have gotten more done for the agenda of the things that your generation and my generation cared about than any president in history.
What are you talking about?
I was asking people to go along with this. The most successful administration in my lifetime. And I'm including the Obama administration, I'm including the Reagan administration, I'm including every administration in my lifetime. We have gotten more done for the agenda of the things that your generation and my generation cared about than any president in history.
Thank you for playing. Should we or should we not follow the advice of the galactically stupid?
Okay, there's a total disconnect there that the vast majority of all the polling showed if Joe Biden had stayed in the race, he was going to lose. He was going to lose big. It was a change election. It's what killed Kamala when she went on The View and was asked that question, what would you do differently than Joe Biden? And her answer was, not a thing. Wrong answer. It was a change election. Joe Biden He got all this legislative. No. He got bullhawked through. His Build Back Better sent interest rates through the roof. It created a misery index, the likes of which we hadn't had since the Carter years. He capped off the oil leases, and that was the end of our inexpensive, cheap gas. It was the end of our energy independence, which had been accomplished and achieved under Donald Trump. And then he had his hand out, begging even some of our enemies to sell us oil. He didn't have great economic policy, that he's done more than any other living president, got more votes than any other president. You know, some of us are still convinced that there were shenanigans in 2020. You know, when you get more votes than actual people that live in that city, Houston, that's a problem. But I digress. Hunter, in his keen insight, can explain why his dad had a terrible debate performance.
Hunter also addressing his father's struggle on the debate stage.
We finally beat Medicare.
Asserting that the president's use of the sleep aid Ambien, taken after extensive foreign travel, played a role.
He's 81 years old. He's tired as They give him Ambien to be able to sleep. He gets up on the stage, and he looks like he's a deer in the headlights.
Gentlemen, Ciccolini here may talk like an idiot and look like an idiot, but don't let that fool you. He really is an idiot.
Wow, sleeping pills. That was it. To an 81-year-old, anything can be an Ambien. Ate too much at dinner. Had a really vigorous game of checkers just before going out onto the stage. Totally sidestepping the issue that if a sleeping pill had this kind of effect on his dad in that debate, which, by the way, doesn't explain the follow-up interview that he did with George Snuffleupagus that he totally flubbed, that if he's traveling the world to meet with world leaders and he's still a little jet-lagged and had a sleeping pill, we're expecting him to be on his game and make snap decisions that could potentially put us into war? A lot of disingenuous there from Hunter. I personally think a part of this is he knows his family is cooked politically. And I think this was just a come out and just an absolute piss all over the entire Democratic apparatus, because he does see them as having knifed dad in the back. It's why Joe Biden keeps trying to reappear. It's why Jill Biden keeps trying to reappear. And he hasn't read the room that his own party is done with him. Joe Biden didn't get elected year after year because he was this great politician with these great policies. He was the Democrats' useful idiot. And the machine returned him to the Senate cycle after cycle after cycle till Obama finally gave him the appointment of VP. None of it is because Joe Biden was this keen, insightful, on his game, true leader. He's a grifter who knew how to play the game. And Hunter can't deal with the fact, game over.